All right, so here is Operations EI Lesson 9, Operations with Scientific Notation, Multiplication and Division. We've done addition and subtraction in Lesson 8. We're going to do the same thing, but now with multiplication and division in Lessons 9. So remember, when we're multiplying numbers with powers right here, we wet the exponents when we're adding the exponents. When dividing numbers with powers, we will subtract the exponents, if you remember from the earlier lessons. So just as a brief review to remember, same base, multiplying numbers with the same base with powers, we add them. This is 5 to the 9th. This guy is 10 to the 15th. We subtract these two. This is 5 to the 4th, and this is 10 to the 5th. For here, we'll multiply or divide the coefficient, and we'll add or subtract the exponents, converting to scientific notation if necessary, recognizing that we can add or subtract exponents. So let's give this a shot. A football field's approximately 1.2 times 10 to the 2 yards by 5.33 times 10 to the 1 yards. What is the approximate area of the football field? We need to multiply these two things together. This is 1.2 times 10 to the 2 yards times, put it in parentheses there, 5.33 times 10 to the 1 yards. Now remember, multiplication is associative, so we don't care how we associate or group together these different parts of the expression, so we can just totally get rid of these parentheses. They're not necessary. It does not matter that they are there. Additionally, multiplication is commutative, so we don't care what order we multiply in. So the parentheses are unnecessary, and we can change the order around. So why don't we combine the 10s together, the 10 to the 2 and the 10 to the 1? That'll be a little bit more convenient way of writing this. 1.2 times 5.33. I'll try to keep my points much higher so we don't get confused. In fact, I won't use points. I'll use parentheses to make it more clear. Times 10 to the 2 times 10 to the 1. As you can see, this is a lot easier to do. This is a standard classic multiplication problem, 1.2 times 5.33. I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'm going to use a calculator instead of doing it by hand. That is 6.396 times, scientific notation, we tend to use the times symbol, which is silly, but we do. 10 to the 3 plus times 10 to the 1 is 10 to the 4th. And we're done. It's kind of the basic idea. Now let's do this nice little practice. This is a good problem. Light travels approximately 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second, as we saw in the last a couple lessons ago. How far does light travel in 1 week? We have to go from seconds to weeks. Good heavens. Well, first we need to figure out how many seconds there are in a minute. So we have to go to times 60 to get to minutes, times 60 to get to hours, times 24 to get to days, and times 7 to get to weeks. We're going to multiply this all together in our calculator. We get 604,800. We're going to convert that to 604,800 will convert to scientific notation. 6.048 times 10 to the, how many decimal points do we move? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So now I want to know, this is how many seconds in a week right here. A lot of seconds. How far does light travel in a week? We need to take this and multiply by this. We'll do it 52 more times and we get a light year, or 52 and a quarter more times to be precise. But we'll go ahead and multiply to find in a week. Once again, we have 6.048 times 10 to the 5th. It's not an obvious exponent. Let me try that one more time here. 10 to the 5th. Multiplied by 3.0 times 10 to the 8th. If you don't mind, we're going to combine together times, I'll use x for times just for this one, so we're not confused. 3.0 times 10 to the 8th. Nope, that's not an obvious exponent either. Let's fix that. 8. There we go. We're going to put our 10s together, and then the 6.048 and the 3 together. We'll multiply them at the same time. So 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 8 is 10 to the 13th. So whatever it is, it's going to be 10 to the 13th. And then 6.048, which we already have in our calculator, we'll times it by, or multiply it by that. And we'll multiply this by 3 to get 18.144. We technically didn't need to do the division. We could have figured that out. 18.144 times 10 to the 13th power. Now here's the problem. That's not in scientific notation. This cannot be a double-digit integer. It has to be a single-digit integer. So let us change this decimal place over to the left by 1. If you remember from the last lesson, if we're going up an order of magnitude, moving the decimal to the left, we need to go up an order of magnitude. So our final answer is 1.8144 times 10 to the 14th. It's a lot of meters. There we go, is our unit. A company on Faceplace, a social network, not copyrighted, receives approximately 839 million likes per year on posts, pictures, and etc. If the company has approximately 7.56 million fans, how many likes is each user responsible for each year? So let's take a look at that. Let's do 839 million likes in scientific notation. 8.39 times 10 to the what? How much would make this millions? Well, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that would make that millions. And now let's find out how many actual likes they have, because we will take the total likes and divide by how many fans to find how many likes per user. So we're going to divide this thing by, well, let's turn this into scientific notation. 7.56 times 10 to the what? Well, I did the first one wrong. We'll fix that in a second. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. That would be to turn it into millions. I turned this into millions. That's 8.39 million. But I misinterpreted that. That's not 8.39 million. That's 839 million. That's 2 more orders of magnitude larger. I messed that up. With my apologies. Just to make sure that we understand, this is 8, and we're going to go 8 more decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Count our commas to make sure that this is right, and it is 839 million. Okay, to do the division, just like the multiplication, we're going to do each piece at a time because it doesn't matter what order we do that in so long as we do the whole thing. So we have 10 to the 8th over 10 to the 6th. What's going to happen? With the same base, we subtract the exponents. This becomes 10 to the 2nd when the 2nd remains on top. 8.39 divided by 7.56 is some number. Divided by 56. 1.1097. It goes on for a long time. And the good question here is, to how many decimal places should I round? Answer, let's take a look at the units. We're talking about people, likes per person. So this means that every person is responsible for, let's move the decimal twice to get rid of scientific notation, about 110.97 likes, or about 111 likes per person. It's a lot of activity there. Person, wow. I will leave the rest of these problems to you to figure out. This one's really fun, actually, number 2. Make sure you take your time with the unit conversions. If you need help with that, we will discuss that in class. I'll see you in lesson number 9 review. 1 through 9 review, excuse me.